Warning, the views and beliefs in the following program does not reflect the views of Boom Broadcasting. We give full creative control to our creators and do not believe in cancel culture. I'm joking when I say this, but I'm not joking also too. It is an orchestrated plan by the man. That's another story for another time. Viewer discretion is advised. And that's our show, everybody. Enjoy the sports. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful rest of the week. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits. Glad the show's over. Ready to do a little something else. Yo, how about you take that off? I like what I see right there. All right. Why don't you go ahead and turn around? Right there. All right. Well, wait. Can't have both of us going viral now. See y'all next week. Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly. Welcome to Quick Hits. I'm your host Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty. If you're new to the show, what's good? I'm Shannon. I've been a lifelong sports fan. This is my first solo podcast, so go ahead and give it a like, engage in the comments, and go ahead and subscribe to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. We have a lot of great content creators that cover sports and some things outside of sports as well too. Go ahead and give them a listen. Go ahead and watch their videos, engage in their comments as well. Give us some feedback. We look to get better and we want to serve you, the viewer. But if you're one of my quick hitting brothers and sisters, ouch! Welcome back. We had a lot of great things happen in the field of sports all through the weekend and leading on into the Wednesday. So we're going to go ahead and get this news around Boom already taken care of. Now, of course, you're having your morning Joe with Podcast Smitty with Quick Hits. Don't forget to watch Wayne, the Commissioner Thomas, on Sideline Savants. I got that show title wrong. Sorry about that, Wayne. But he's going to give you your ins and outs on fantasy football, who to sit, who to start, who to put on IR, who to trade for. He's going to do it. He got a really good pickup this weekend with Chris Godwin starting him, and it worked out perfect. So Wayne knows what he's talking about when it comes to fantasy football, but I'm waiting on him to take an L to me this year. Also, at 3 o'clock, check out the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast from Michael Davis, a.k.a. MD, as he gets you ready for some wrestling, gets you up to date on all the wrestling that happened over the weekend and on Monday and Tuesday nights. So go ahead and give him a watch. His wrestling podcast is very good. And also make sure you check the Lombardi Party at 6 o'clock, rounding out the rest of the day, and hit up the nightcap with Mouthing Off with Mike. But also with the Lombardi Party, that's Carson Williams that's going to be doing that show there. So make sure you watch him. Then watch Mouthing Off with Mike at about 10:05 to go ahead and recap the wrestling for AEW. That's a live show. So go ahead and watch them. Give them a comment. Engage in there. Let them know that you're watching. So now that you've been told about the news around Boom, let's go ahead and start the show. Now, this kind of has a little something to do with sports, considering the fact that he's one of the greatest tight ends that's ever played professional football. But I know many of you saw or heard the IG Live with Shannon Sharpe. All I got to say is I'm really glad that is getting it in. I'm kind of glad that he is. Glad he's in good physical health and living his best life. Having a little somebody over at the house. Unfortunately, you got to know how to use your phone or your camera. You got to know how to do that. Now, a big part of me, wants to kind of say that he done this on purpose, because how do you not know when you're going live on IG? I don't know. I know when I'm going live on Instagram or anywhere else or the camera's rolling. I'm just saying. But Unk's got to be careful. He issued an apology, which was really, really cool. And I know that many people roasted him about it. I know that there was some people that got the name of the girl wrong, whether it's Michelle or Nushelle. Hey, you know what? That's cool. So, I'm glad that you had a good night. I'm glad that, things are going well for you in the relationship field. But you got to separate your business and your pleasure, because I don't want to see lose his spot on ESPN or lose traction in his podcast, because he's doing a lot of great work out there. His podcast has been great. Club Shay Shay, The Nightcap, they've all been good. Him and his work with Chad Ochocinco has been good. His work on First Take has been good. He's worked himself up there very high when it comes down to people covering sports and people covering ins and outs of the world. And the traction on his podcast has just been really, really great. I've enjoyed his podcast, liked all that he's been doing, the work that he's been doing. It's been great work. But I would hate for him to lose it over something that silly, that stupid. I don't want that to happen to him, because he's doing great work. Let's just be honest. And what a way to lose it, by the way, too. That's another thing, just the way to lose it. You don't want to lose it like that. That's embarrassing. I don't want anybody to be embarrassed for old Don't want him to embarrass himself. That's not good for him. So that's all I'm going to say. I know we got a few friends. He got a little daps from some of the guys telling you, hey, man, that's good. That's all right. But still, it ain't worth all that. You don't want to lose what you got, because those guys dapping you up, they ain't going to do anything for you. They're going to dap you up, and then when it comes down to getting your career back, they ain't going to be able to help you. So don't lose it like that. Be careful, next time you got somebody over at the house. Just be careful. Silence your phone. Turn it off. Something. Don't do all that. Don't be making the nasty flicks, man. Don't. We ain't trying to see all that. We ain't trying to hear all that. But hey, still, kudos to you, my man. And I don't know what type of quick hit that would be. I guess it's just a quick hit. Now, most of our quick hits on the hardwood are going to be for the women folk, because they've done a wonderful job as the WNBA season is going towards the end and going into the playoffs. Now, I wanted to do a quick hit talking about Caitlin Clark breaking the single season assist record, but unfortunately, that's going to take a back seat to what I want to speak on about her. But before I say that, congratulations to Caitlin Clark breaking the single season assist record for the WNBA. Incredible feat by a rookie. I believe she'll win Rookie of the Year. I don't see why she wouldn't after doing something that monumental. She's had an excellent rookie campaign. She's done a great job. God bless her. She's done well for the sport of women's basketball, professional women's basketball. It has been incredible. But what I want to address is that over this month and the past month, an NBA great who I have a lot of respect for, who I watched play when the WNBA season, the inaugural season began, someone I really respect, a part of that women's basketball team in the 90s for the USA. She's an incredible basketball player, a 4-time champion in the WNBA with the Houston Comets. She played with Tina Charles, Cynthia Cooper. They were a heck of a squad. She's a great player. And I'm talking about Sheryl Swoopes, for those who don't know. You've been under a rock if you don't know who Sheryl Swoopes is as a women's basketball player. She's one of the pioneering players for the WNBA when the WNBA began its first year and has carried on, won the first 4 NBA championships. Now, Sheryl Swoopes has blatantly shown that she has no love for Caitlin Clark whatsoever. Now, I'm the type of person, you can like who you want to. I like Jordan. Someone may like LeBron, but that doesn't mean I hate LeBron and I'm going to give that dude a bad rap for what he's done for the sport of basketball. He's done very well for the sport of basketball. Sheryl Swoopes has done very well for the sport of basketball. Caitlin Clark has and will, as long as her career is going. But Sheryl Swoopes is showing absolute just disregard for Caitlin Clark, and it's blatant and it shows. It is so terrible. She talked about her age when she was playing college basketball, saying that she was 25 when she wasn't, saying that she took 40 shots a game when she played at Iowa. She didn't. She's went on record to talk about her teammates having great success and blatantly leaving her out of the conversations for when the Indiana Fever has went on this remarkable chase for the playoffs when they were out of it. But she's just blatantly left Caitlin Clark out of the conversation. And it's very, very, it's silly. Sheryl Swoopes is a wonderful basketball player. She knows basketball. She's a great basketball mind. And for you to just show blatant disregard for a woman who has played her tail off this year, who has exceeded expectations as the number 1 pick in the WNBA, and you're just going to blatantly disregard her like that, that shows absolute hate. And it's wrong. And it's wrong on so many levels. If you don't like Caitlin Clark, I get it. If you don't like her style of basketball, I get it. But for you to just leave her out of conversations like she's not that valuable of a player, like the reason why she's been playing as high energy she has, that Indiana now has a chance in the playoffs and she's not a part of that. She's a big part of why that's happening. But that doesn't mean that she's the only reason why they're doing it. Indiana's starting to play as a team. And what Sheryl Swoopes is saying is making her look horrible, like she doesn't know what she's talking about. And it's a shame. Hopefully Sheryl Swoopes can look herself in the mirror and realize that she's wrong and admit it. Because what she's done and what she said is deplorable to a basketball player who has played very well this year and deserves the kudos that she's getting. And hopefully she will get it. But with that being said, Sheryl Swoopes, you got to do better. Congratulations, Caitlin Clark. Hopefully Indiana does well in the playoffs if she gets that Rookie of the Year like she deserves. Congratulations to A'ja Wilson being the only WNBA player to have 1,000 points in one season. She's the first player ever in the WNBA to do so. Congratulations to her. She has had a star-studded year, winning a gold medal with the women's national team in Paris, France. She's looking for a 3rd straight MVP. She has been nothing short of incredible. A'ja Wilson's game has developed so well. She's able to step out and shoot the 3. She's a remarkable rebounder, very sound defender at 6'5", able to block shots, able to guard the cup, able to guard the elbow of the key. She is the essential WNBA player. She deserves every bit of success, every bit of kudos, props, all the stats, all the highlights. She deserves every bit of it. She's my favorite player in the WNBA. I love watching her play, how well she plays. She is exciting to play. She is the quintessential player. Couldn't ask for a better MVP. She achieved the 1,000-point mark against the Connecticut Sun with only 1 minute and 54 seconds left in the game. She finished with 29 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocked shots. She was great in that game. They finished off the Connecticut Sun for their season sweep, beating them 3-0 throughout the season. They're going to contend for the 3rd playoff spot in the WNBA. I believe there's 2 more games left as we speak. So the season will end and the playoffs are on the horizon. So, hands down, unanimous MVP, A'ja Wilson. I'm thankful that I don't have to spend time just talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Although Angel Reese, get well soon. Hate that happened to you. But thankfully, I can talk about another player besides those 2 because I don't want anyone to think that all I'm doing is talking about them on quick hits. Like I don't watch the rest of the season or that I don't watch the rest of the teams. I do. So I'm thankful for that. Once again, congratulations, A'ja. Good luck in the playoffs of the Las Vegas Aces. Let's see what you got in there. And those are your basketball quick hits for this week. Like I always say on this show, I am a fan of sport. So I'm very honored that I get to give some quick hits to the combat sports. We had two very good matches in the combat sports, and I'll go ahead and go with the first one. This is my first time talking about a UFC fight that I've seen, and it was the bantamweight championship between Merab Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley, who was the champ at that time. Now, I will say this, I'm not a loyal follower of UFC. I'm not a huge UFC fan. I'm familiar with some fighters, but as far as watching all the events, I have not done that in a while. I think the last UFC fight I watched was Khabib and Conor McGregor, and I was very, very surprised by the ending. Khabib had a great match. But anyway, we're going to go to this match here as Merab Dvalishvili became the new bantamweight champion after facing a very entertaining Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley hasn't lost a fight in 4 years, and Merab Dvalishvili was up next. They called him the Machine, and in this match, it showed. Merab Dvalishvili is a smaller fighter in frame. Not small in frame, sorry about that. He's small in height, doesn't have the long reach. He's a very put together fighter, very, very strong shoulders, back, chest, very chiseled guy. Low to the ground, he's hard to strike with the longer Sean O'Malley, who has the longer wingspan, longer kick radius. He's able to strike. He's a sniper because of the way that he times his shots. He comes with a lot of range. He's able to reach very far with his arms and his legs. So that was something that Merab had to really take under consideration when fighting the champion. During that match, around the first 3 rounds that were sizing each other up, Merab wasn't making any subtle mistakes. He didn't go in there leading with his head. He didn't go in there blindly, because he could have easily took one of those spinning kicks that Sean O'Malley likes to dish out. Didn't come in with the straight punches. He didn't come in in a straight line. He came in at an angle, so it was very hard for O'Malley to hit him, and he was getting frustrated. Then later on into that 4th and 5th round, he started getting a lot of submission opportunities. He was able to force O'Malley to the ground, was able to take him down with that strong upper body that he's got. So it was easy for him to gain control. He was able to put in submissions. He put a triangle choke in at one point in time. He had a rear chin lock at one point. He was looking for the rear naked, which he did not get, but he wasn't able to get a submission in there, but he was able to get a few takedowns towards that 4th and 5th round. The match went the distance like I figured that it would do. And Merab Dvalishvili became the new bantamweight champion. He was able to win on points. It was a unanimous decision. One thing that Merab said in the interviews when he talked to Dana White, when he talked to the press, he said he made Sean O'Malley look normal. And that was something that a lot of fighters did not do. O'Malley is a very, very strong sniper, very exciting, striking fighter. He didn't have to really use the wrestling technique. And that was something that Merab did well. He was able to wrestle. He got some key strikes in there in the 5th round. He got a nice hit around the 5th round, and it jarred. Sean O'Malley made him look a little twice, made him look back and forth, but he was able to muscle him down to the ground with that strong upper body. It was a very entertaining match. I liked it. I think that Merab will be a very good champion. Sean O'Malley was a great champion when he had the belt, but it looks like Merab Dvalishvili is going to be holding on to the bantamweight championship. This is going to be interesting. I might have to watch a little UFC. I have to watch a little more of it. I'm an old school UFC fan. And before it got mainstream, I watched it when it became mainstream. It's been really, really good. So I like the fight. Very, very good fight. UFC 306 was a very good event. Good job, UFC. Now, hours before UFC 306, we had a great boxing match, which had the main event being Canelo Alvarez, the super middleweight champion of the world, up against Edgar Berlanga, who was the number 1 contender for the title. Berlanga came in talking a lot of trash to Canelo, saying he was going to drop Canelo in the 6th round. As this match was going, there was a lot of trash talk before, and when this match began, there was a lot of it during it. So Berlanga would shoot off his mouth. Canelo would do the same thing. Canelo likes to talk it up a little bit. I've watched a good bit of Canelo's matches over his very, very long career, 63 matches in all. He has put on some bangers. Very, 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 very seasoned fighter. 34 years old. It was odd to me that Canelo was 34. I remember Canelo's first fight. He was one of the prelim matches during Mayweather's fight, during the Mayweather fight. And he knocked down his first, he got a knockout his first fight. In his first fight on a card, he got a knockout, and that was years and years ago. But I watched it. I remember like it was yesterday. I said, there's something about him. Oh, he's going to be nice. And old Cinnamon, he's become a great fighter. He's done very, very well. 62 victories in his career. He had a great match against Edgar Berlanga. This match was really, really good. A lot of heat going on, a lot of trash talking back and forth. Canelo knocked down Berlanga in the 3rd round with that bread and butter left hook. He's got one of the best left hooks in all of the game. So that was a turning point of the fight. This was a pretty lopsided fight as Canelo was snapping the jab. He was laying shots on Berlanga's arms. Berlanga's 27 years old. So he's getting into the ring with a salty vet like Canelo. It's going to be very, very hard for him to get through. It was hard getting through Canelo's defense. Canelo being one of the best counter punchers in all of boxing. That was something that Berlanga had to really worry about. He has a brawling style about him. He likes to swing wild. He's one of those guys who likes to let his right hand go to work. But he couldn't do that against a counterpuncher like Canelo Alvarez, who will telegraph your punches easily. Very good working in the body. Berlanga was a taller fighter. He's 6'1". He had the wingspan. Canelo likes to do his best work inside on the body. He was able to do that as he was landing 43% of his punches throughout the fight, and 49% of his power punches were landed. It was a lopsided affair as Canelo won in a unanimous decision, all 12 rounds belonging to him. Canelo was shooting off some trash talk, but at the end of the fight, Berlanga and him embraced. Berlanga told Canelo that he was his idol. I find that kind of weird because he was running his mouth to him. You know, they were pretty much hyping up the fight, which I get. I understand that. But this was probably one of the most entertaining fights that Canelo Alvarez has had in a while. The crowd was getting involved in it. There was a lot of trash talk in between. The ref had to get in a few times and intervene. There was some headbutts going on in there from Berlanga. There was some from Canelo. But this fight was very well officiated, very well judged. Both the fighters went out there. They were very, very strong. They put on a great showing, but Canelo Alvarez comes away as the winner. Super middleweight champion at 168 pounds. There is a lot of talk saying that he has dodged some fighters. One of those fighters that was in attendance at that fight was Terrence Crawford, which he's looked at as one of the best pound for pound in the world right now. Canelo is at number 5. There's a lot saying that he's ducking Bud Crawford, said that he doesn't want to fight him. But we'll definitely see. Canelo says that this is one of those fights where he says that he's showing everyone that he's going to take on all comers as the champion. So this was a great fight. Very, very glad I was able to watch it. I was glad to see it. Very, very good. So your combat sports. There's your quick hit. Now for your quick hits for the sport of football. We begin with a little bit of somber news. One thing that I always pride myself in not doing, and a rule that I have when I talk sports, is that I shall not, have not, and will not wish an injury on another player or cheer when a player gets injured. Not saying anybody has done that in the past week or so, but of course, with injuries happening in football, it's very, very tough seeing your favorite players or certain players that you cheer for going down with injury. One player in particular I want to talk about is Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, Tua got a very big contract this year after leading the league in passing last year, only to suffer a concussion just last week, playing the Buffalo Bills. Damar Hamlin and he collided as Tua was running and led with his head, causing Tua to go down, his body to lock up like a familiar concussion that he had once. And it looked as if Tua was out yet again. Now, Tua went to go see a neurologist on Monday. The results are coming back very, very soon. But your third concussion in under 5 years, very, very tough to watch. There are people out there saying that Tua needs to put down the game of football if he wants to live a normal life, saying that he should retire, that he should consider his level of play, and that this could endanger his life. My thoughts, I would probably say I feel the same way. I can't sit back here and tell Tua what to do, considering the fact that football is his love, considering the fact that Tua is a good football player. It's hard to think about what could have been and how things could be if he continued to play football and sustain the injuries that he sustained. It's very, very tough to tell a player to walk away from the game. However, Tua has an obligation to himself. It's not safe going on 3 concussions in such a short time in the NFL. It's hard to tell a man to walk away from it, but I think Tua has to really reconsider this. Talking to a neurologist was a good start. Very smart move. The team advised that he do that. He followed through. Only time will tell. But as of right now, Tua's endangering himself. Tua didn't slide like most quarterbacks do when they're running for the extra yards. Tua's an athletic guy. He's got some good speed about him. But that was just something that he didn't think of in the heat of the battle, which is understandable. But all points are pointing to Tua putting down the game of football. So my question is, what do you guys think? Do you think that Tua should give it another go? Or should football not be in his future anymore? Let's see what you got. Let's see what you think. But in the meantime, Tua get well. Hopefully the results are good. Hopefully you can make a comeback from this. Or if you decide to put it down, it'd be the right decision that you make. Shifting gears to college football, it's been a very long 3 weeks for the Florida State Seminoles, coming up short to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in Dublin, Ireland, losing to Boston College the next week, and then this past week, losing to the Memphis Tigers. Sorry about that. The Memphis Tigers in a very heartbreaking fashion, 20-12. Coach Norvell saw his old team and unfortunately took an L. $1.5 million was the payout for Memphis to play the Florida State Seminoles. And unfortunately, Memphis made the story, getting a big win against Florida State Seminoles. Now the Seminoles looking at an 0-3 start, first time in a while. Florida State is really living up to their lawsuit, wanting to get away from the ACC, only to show that maybe they're not as big as they think that they are. Many can think that Florida State was very, very cocky, thinking that they shouldn't be looking to get out of the ACC, considering the fact that they've not been a perennial powerhouse over the past few years. But Florida State does have a leg to stand on, being one of those few teams that has won a national championship in the ACC. It looked like Florida State had a leg to stand on this year until these past 3 games have came. So, with that being said, Florida State sees himself out of the top 25 once again. And now Florida State is looking to scrap their way back in the ACC, the very conference that they want to leave, in hopes of getting a bigger conference, probably that Power 5 money. Who knows what they're looking to do with all the expansions in the NCAA. Florida State looks like they might want to get a crumb of that money. But Florida State doesn't look like they're very deserving. Doesn't look like that they're even fit to play in any conference, let alone the ACC, a conference that they haven't been able to win in, as they're 0-2 in the past 3 games in conference play. So does Florida State deserve to still have this mind frame that they are a powerhouse school? The way I see it, I don't think so. And with the season being very long to start out with, Florida State looks like they might be finding their way down further and further. This week coming up, looks like it could be a week to regroup, a week to recuperate. But as of right now, Florida State looks like they're one of the bottom teams in the nation, seeing to it that they haven't had a win in 3 weeks. Only we can see what the season will bring, and only time will tell. If there is a player that I have been excited and looking forward to seeing, it's Arch Manning. Ever since he was being scouted out of high school, I felt like Arch was going to make an impact with whatever team that he went to. But considering the fact that he went to Texas, it was going to be a while before he got off the bench. But with all that being considered, patience is definitely a virtue, as Arch Manning was able to make a debut against the University of Texas in San Antonio with a 56-7 rout, where Arch Manning threw for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns, capping off his 5th touchdown with a 67-yard scamper that made highlights all through the sports world. Now, if you've watched football over the years, you will know that Arch Manning is the grandson of Archie Manning, former NFL pro quarterback. And also, of course, his father, Cooper, was a football player, considered probably the best Manning son, although he didn't make it to the pros. And of course, being the nephew of 2 NFL greats, Peyton and Eli Manning, we all know, if you've watched Peyton and Eli, you know that they are not as gifted with the feet. They're not fast guys. They have very strong arms. They're very good throwers, very accurate passers, but not as athletic and not gifted with defeats. Arch Manning, on the other hand, is showing everybody that he is a Manning that has some fancy footwork with a 67-yard run. One of the best runs that I've seen this year from a quarterback, and it was very, very exciting to see. I loved it because the joke was Arch Manning got his feet from his grandfather. Many say that he got his feet from his mother, but he definitely didn't get it from his uncles. As Arch Manning played an incredible game, played very, very well, coming in for Cam Ewers, who got hurt on a touchdown pass during that game. Arch Manning got some very quality minutes, lit up the scoreboard, and led the Texas Longhorns to a #1 ranking this year in college football. With Georgia having a lackluster game against Kentucky where they almost were the upset, it looked as Texas was the surefire team to become the #1 team in the nation. Now, considering that Cam Ewers should be back very, very soon, we may not see a lot of Arch for the rest of the year. But with that glimmer that we got, it was great to see, and I enjoyed every bit of it. There were a lot of football news. There was a lot of football highlights this year, but these were the 3 football topics that made this week's Quick Hits. And that is our show, everybody. This was a jam-packed episode where we had some combat sports, some basketball, a little bit of risque behavior, and of course, capping off the episode with some football quick hits. Thank you guys very much for watching. We appreciate what you do for Boom Broadcasting. Join us next week where I'll be back here on Wednesday at 9 a.m. to deliver some more quick hits for you. In the meantime, make sure you check out my brothers at 3 o'clock. You've got Drop the Mic. At 6 o'clock, you got the Lombardi Party. I got some news wrong. The Nightcap is on vacation for the week. Mouthing Off with Mike is getting some much needed rest, but he will be back next Monday to give you some wrestling on the Nightcap live after your wrestling shows. Monday Night Raw, NXT on Tuesday, AEW Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown. He'll be back. Just let him get some rest. Let the man recuperate. He'll be back for some more. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the sports. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits. Mike, listen to me, man. It was an accident. I had no idea it was live. You know, sometimes the phones do that, man. You know, phones change like every other week, man. Something always comes up. There's something always. Upload this, upgrade that, get the latest software here. I had no idea. Look, I'll be more careful, I promise. It didn't even get all that much. Look, you don't even give Mouthing Off with Mike half the hell that dude swears on every live that he has. You're going to get on to me just because I had a little bit of fun on there? It wasn't even on purpose. Look, Mike, I'll make it up to you, man. I promise. I will, man. You know I'm good for it, man. Look, man, your parents didn't see it. Nobody else saw it. I don't think anybody saw it. I don't think anybody did. Mike, I really, really didn't mean for this to happen, man. This was not a ploy to go viral. This was not to increase views. It wasn't for that. You got to believe me, man. You've known me long enough to know that. Mike, for real, it wasn't like that, man. I promise. Look, man. Look, we'll talk about it in the morning, all right? I promise, man. For real. All right, I see. I guess now y'all know why the show is called Quick Hits.